We're rewatching every MCU movie before the release of Avengers Doomsday, and today we've arrived at the one that has a reputation. Today we're talking about Thor: The Dark World. Let's continue to ride the road to Doomsday. If you have spent any amount of time in the Marvel fandom, you probably already know the narrative around this movie. For years, it has been the go-to answer whenever people are asked what's the worst MCU movie. And honestly, for a long time, I kind of agreed with that. But going back and rewatching it as a part of our MCU marathon, I walked away thinking something a little surprising. Is it great? No. But it's definitely not my least favorite MCU movie. There's actually a little bit of charm here. Released in 2013, Thor: The Dark World came out during Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Of course, this is the era where Marvel was really trying to figure out how to follow up the massive success of the Avengers. Here, our story picks up with Thor trying to restore order across the 9 realms after the chaos caused by Loki in New York.
That was for New York.
Speaking of Loki, he is now locked up in an Asgardian prison after the events of the Avengers. But when an ancient threat returns in the form of the dark elf leader Malekith, Thor is forced to turn to the one person he probably shouldn't trust, his brother.
You still don't trust me, brother?
Let's just address the elephant in the room. Malekith is not a great MCU villain. He's actually really quite boring. He wants to plunge the universe into darkness by using a mysterious force known as the Aether, which we later reveal as the Reality Stone. But as a character, he just never really leaves an impression, which is unfortunate because the MCU has the likes of Loki, Thanos, and Killmonger. Compared to them, Malekith mostly just shows up, talks about darkness, and disappears until the next scene. You really forget about him, and it's easily the biggest weakness of the movie. But where the movie really shines is the relationship between Thor and Loki. Once Thor breaks Loki out of prison and the two of them have to work together, the movie instantly becomes more entertaining.
Hey, you want to have a rousing discussion about truth, honor, patriotism? God bless them!
The chemistry between Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston is fantastic, and their scenes together are easily the highlight of the film. You get humor, tension, and the constant feeling that Loki could betray Thor at any moment. And honestly, without this dynamic, the movie would probably feel a lot more forgettable. Another thing I appreciated more on this rewatch is how much time was spent in Asgard, and that's coming from someone who doesn't love the mythology world. We get more from Odin, played by Anthony Hopkins, who is kind of a putz this movie, but still more is more. And we get to see the kingdom under a full-scale attack when the Dark Elves invade, which was absolutely epic. It gave me Naboo vibes. That sequence is probably the most intense part of the movie, and it gives us one of the more emotional moments in Thor's story with the loss of Frigga, the Queen of Asgard, or his mother. That scene honestly hits harder than you remember.
Did she suffer?
One part of the movie that actually surprised me to rewatch was the final battle scene. Because of the convergence of the 9 realms, portals start opening everywhere, and characters are literally bouncing between different worlds during the fight. It's actually pretty creative action sequence compared to a lot of the big sky beam finales that we saw in the early MCU days. Even with the charm and some solid moments, Thor: The Dark World still ends up feeling like it's one of the weaker entries into the MCU, for me at least. The pacing can feel a little uneven, the villain is forgettable, of course, and at times it feels like just a romance between Thor and Jane. Again, it's not bad, but it's not entirely memorable. So after revisiting Thor: The Dark World as a part of our MCU rewatch leading up to Avengers Doomsday, my opinion on the movie has definitely softened, but it's still nowhere near the top of the MCU list for me. But if you would like to see where I officially rank it, you should make sure you subscribe to the channel and, of course, help us out as we're continuing to work our way towards our goal of 1,000 subscribers by Avengers Doomsday. And let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts of Thor: The Dark World? We thank you for watching today's episode, and now that you've got some time, you can go refill that popcorn bucket.